My partner won't let me sleep and I don't know what to do. First off, I'll say that I have sleep issues. I find it very difficult to get to sleep and stay asleep despite taking medication for it. And when I finally do sleep, I snore. I've tried so many fixes for this. Nose strips, adjusting positions, spoken to many GPs about it, but nothing has worked and I can't control it. My partner is taken to, instead of rolling me over, just losing his patience and kicking doors open, yelling, screaming, hitting the bed to scare me awake. This started a few months ago and was super infrequent, but has now picked up and is happening multiple times a week. I'm now having an even harder time getting to sleep. Bedtime is giving me so much anxiety. My body is like on a hair trigger now. I wake up at the slightest noise and never fully drift off anymore because I'm just expecting to be woken up in an extremely aggressive manner. I feel like I'm at the end of my tether. How do I get them to just listen and let me sleep? I mean, it's ridiculous to be scared of going to sleep when your partner is home, isn't it? I don't know what to do anymore. I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially and I don't have anywhere I could stay. We live paycheck to paycheck. It's not like I can just sleep somewhere else and still support us. He is so angry all the time now and I don't know how much longer I can be around him. I just want to be left alone to sleep in peace. In the comments, someone says, "You leave." This is abuse, plain and simple. Sleep deprivation is a torture tactic. Edit, you kick him out. He can figure out someone else to abuse and leech off of. Another commenter asks, have you been evaluated for sleep apnea? That's often a cause of snoring and can be a serious condition. And OP says, I'm in the process of trying to get my GP to assess me for this as I do fit all of the criteria. We're doing the let's check off and rule out other options part before they'll do anything. Someone asks if OP can sleep in a separate room or does his husband use earplugs? And OP says, we already do sleep in ear rooms, and it doesn't help. No, he can hear me through the wall, and apparently earplugs don't help either. I guess I'm gonna go with everyone else's advice and say, you just need to leave him, OP. He's abusing you, plain and simple. You're scared of falling asleep around your partner. This is not someone that you should continue having in your life. They're not dealing with their emotions in a healthy and regular fashion. They are going to escalate the abuse because it has been normalized at this point. They don't think that what they're doing is wrong, so it's okay for them to do more. Run, OP. Run for the hills. And now, onto the update, 18.5 months later. I've never made an update post before, so I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Please let me know. I posted well over a year ago now, close to 2 years at this point, about my sleep snoring issues causing aggression from my partner, and some people seemed really concerned for me in the comments, so I felt the need to update just so people know that I'm okay. So to update, not long after the post, I sat down with him and explained how upsetting his behavior was, and he changed it. We aired our grievances, did some reflecting, and realized it was unsustainable, so implemented changes, and it worked. Isn't it wild how communicating can fix problems? A lot of people wanted me to dump him and leave, but we've been together for years. I wanted to give it another try to see if we can find a solution. First change was sticking strictly to separate sleeping areas, and sleeping separately helped so much. Seriously, we are so much better rested in our own spaces, and our sleep routines aren't being disrupted by each other. Also, fun sleepovers with no sleeping. Sleep deprivation was making both of us crazy stressed out, and we were not handling it well. Him in particular. I've reached out to my GP since, and am currently, still, on a waiting list for a sleep study to confirm sleep apnea, which isn't ideal, but at least there's movement there. Love the NHS, but don't love how long these wait lists take in my area. He also started therapy soon after my post, and we found out that he's autistic, which we suspected before but didn't know what to do about. He got diagnosed and really dove into resources on the topic, and we've both learned so much about how to deal with it. He's done so much work on recognizing and coping with being overstimulated. Yeah, the loud snoring, extra distressing for him with his sensory issues that he didn't understand how to identify, and redirecting his anger into healthier outlets. He's now trying to get me assessed too. I'll say something like, "Where are the scissors?" The way this thread is hanging off my sleeve and touching my arm makes me want to peel off my skin, and he'll just hold up a book on autism and point at me like, "Hehehe," which is fun. And on our financial situation that I mentioned in my post, it flipped. He found a job, and then I lost mine. So we're no better off on that front, but sleeping, and as a couple, we're doing so much better. I want to thank so many commenters on my first post for helping me realize that it was not healthy or okay for either of us. We're still working on it, but we're in a much healthier, happier place. Thank you. And in the comments, someone says, "I'm confused why none of the original fixes tried was sleeping separately." OP says, "We would move after being woken up. The change was starting to sleep in separate rooms entirely, so he isn't being woken up by me in the first place. Instead of us both going to sleep in the same bed and him being woken up or startled. Sorry for the confusion." Another commenter says, "I wonder how much of the change comes from the autism diagnosis and separate sleeping, and how much is simply the fact that he's now in the financially dominant position in your relationship. It's a lot easier to be nice when you're in control. Hope I'm wrong, just saying." Breakfast Lost says, "I feel like this sleeping in separate rooms was an obvious fix that they should have tried sooner." OP said they were already sleeping in separate rooms and it wasn't working in a comment on the original post, which is even more confusing. It sounds like they weren't fully committing to it or something. It sounded like they would start in the same room and then only move after waking each other up. And that's not helpful. You're already awake by then. You have to settle down and fall asleep again, and you're resentful of being woken up when you're already sleep deprived. He said he'd come into the room he was in, kick the door open, and scare him awake. Legit cannot imagine staying with someone who did that even one time. Quotes, "I can't just up and leave him because he's totally dependent on me financially." This sentence is hilarious to me because I'd be thinking exactly the opposite. Like that's exactly why you can leave them. Being diagnosed with autism is not an excuse for the fact that he was abusing OP. He still yells at and terrorizes OP. He kicks the doors down and wakes OP up. That's just terrible vibes. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel at all resolved. OP is very much codependent and just saying, you know what, we found a fix to the situation, so I'm going to forgive everything that happened before this. I may be scared to sleep in the same house as him, and I'm not anymore for now. He used to hit the bed and everything like that, but he's autistic, so never mind, it's fine. And now I'm financially dependent on him, so all is good now. I really hope that all goes well, OP, and I hope that this is just a bump in the road and that he doesn't do it again. But for your own sake, I would keep being vigilant and looking out for any other red flags in the future. Thank you for the story, and thank you for the fair warning for people in their relationships and what to look out for. Our next post is by user Schmeg the Egg, and it's titled, "I, maid of honor, just found out the bride talked shit behind my back the entire wedding day, but still had me plan and pay for everything. I was asked to be maid of honor by a friend of mine who I've had a rocky past with. She doesn't really have anyone close to her in life that lasts longer than a few years, and she also changes jobs every few months because she is high conflict and causes drama constantly. She thrives off of it. In hindsight, I should have said no, especially knowing this was her and the groom's third engagement, so off and on. But I agreed and took everything so seriously. Bridezilla was an understatement. She changed the members of the bridal party 5 times, so I had to constantly track down new people. Her bridal shower just had to be at this one very specific country club that was expensive. She changed the date of the actual wedding and forgot to tell me for months. And it was on a Friday, so I had to request off work. Nothing I bought was good enough, and she always requested more. She changed my dress color after I bought it. She also just stopped talking to me unless it was about the wedding and had no idea what was going on in my personal life. I paid for just about everything because the people she kept inviting in the bridal party were younger than us, early 20s. I'm 27, bride is 33, and have no stable income. I have a good job and am smart with my money, but even for me it was really difficult. I'm talking about $6,000 on this damn wedding as maid of honor, and I'm trying to plan my own soon too. Well, day of the wedding comes, and I make sure that she has a bunch of custom gifts, a day of bag, my speech was beautiful, etc., but she was so rude to me the entire day. She has a new BFF she met about 4 months before the wedding, and they are attached at the hip, and all she wanted to do was talk to her. But whatever, I was super busy handling everything, so I tried to ignore it. Wedding comes and goes, she leaves to go to the after party with her new BFF, and I stay behind to clean up the entire venue with the help of my boyfriend after, and we go home. Well, I get a call today from her cousin who was also in the wedding party, who I really bonded with over this awful experience. She told me that she didn't want to say anything to me, but she thinks that I deserve to know because I'm already buying Christmas gifts for the bride and her kids. Her cousin tells me that every time I left the bridal suite the day of the wedding, the bride would announce to everyone in the room that she couldn't stand me, I wish she weren't even here, I'm so effing annoying. She also has a separate group chat with her sisters and cousins and continues to talk shit about me there. Mind you, she just sent me a Christmas list for her kids last week. Everything is already bought and wrapped. I feel so hurt and so used, and honestly really stupid. I just blocked her on everything. I don't want to even message her because I know she'll somehow twist it around and make it my fault. Edit to add, I'm seeing a lot of comments saying this is on me for missing and ignoring the red flags, and I 100% agree. I should have gone more into the backstory, but it's super complicated and long, so I left it out. I used to be the stepmother of her oldest son. So her ex is also my ex, and he is a huge piece of shit, but that's a story for another day. And I'm extremely bonded to the kiddo. I was in his life from 9 months old, and she's allowed me to still be involved in his life for the past 4+ years, even after I left the relationship. He's 7 now. So a huge part of me feels this immense, incredible debt to her, and I will always appreciate her keeping me in her son's life. She didn't have to do that, but as my friend, kids aside, she's incredibly selfish and toxic, and I should have made better boundaries and kept my guard up. But wow. That's easier said than done when kids are involved. Edit to add too, I also meant that I spent $6,000 on the bridal shower, /bachelorette, /gifts, etc. I didn't pay for the actual wedding venue itself, but $6,000 of my own money still for wedding-related things. Edit to add 3, I appreciate everyone's advice. I was more or less venting on this post. I know that I'm not blameless in this, and definitely let it drag on too long, because I was and am scared that once I upset Bridezilla, I lose access to being a part of her children's lives. However, I agree that it's not healthy for me to continue to be in contact with her, and her children are better off not seeing me being used as a doormat by their mother. I blocked her number and do not plan on interacting with her ever again. Time to just move on and focus on my own healing for once. In the comments, Knight Who Said Nyan says, return everything and flush that horrible woman out of your life ASAP. Okie Lady says, I would let her know that the Christmas gifts won't be coming and why. I think just to be petty, send her an invoice for the money that you wasted on her. Squirrel Girl VA says, here's the thing with the kid. He's growing up hearing his mum talk bad about OP. There's the risk of him growing up and thinking that it's okay to treat people like that. If he sees OP walk away, it'll show him that he doesn't have to tolerate being like that, and that others won't tolerate him acting that way. He might lose out on OP being in his life, and being a good influence, but I don't think that his mum would really allow that anyway. I think she's gonna drop OP as soon as she stops giving. And Beneficial Bake says, this is a good opportunity to reflect on why you tolerated this abuse for so long. You sound like an extremely nice person. You deserve better. Going forward, if someone treats you badly like this, hopefully you will feel comfortable leaving earlier. This may turn out to be a beneficial life lesson. We've all had bad experiences that we can later reflect on and help us grow. Obviously, don't give her the presents. It's tempting to be petty, but that's not who you are. This person is missing out on a good friend in you. They will continue to have these short-lived, high-drama relationships. Congratulations on your engagement. Yeah, I'm with the commenters on this one. I understand what you're going through because I myself have been like that in my life. I've stayed, I've been abused, I've allowed things to happen to me because I have sunk cost fallacy. And there's a lot of people that fall into the sunk cost fallacy as well. You can know and you can feel in your gut that what is happening to you is not right, but you stick through it anyway because you're like, there's a higher reason for this. It's gonna pay off in the end, I swear to God it is. I'm gonna hit red on the roulette table and this will all just blow over, but, you know, it's better off that you just leave, OP. It's not your kid, I understand it's hard to walk away from that, but you're setting yourself on fire to keep them warm. People that don't even want the warmth, they spit on the fire that you are starting for them. And now, onto the update, almost 2 months later. Hi everyone, this post definitely blew up more than I was expecting, so I wanted to give a quick update. After this happened, a few things that some of you said to me really stuck with me. I was looking at all of this from the perspective of not wanting to lose access to the children of the bride who I love deeply, but I was not realizing that by allowing their mother to treat me poorly, that I was modeling for their kids how to treat their own loved ones. That really was a light bulb moment for me, and I realized I needed to cut ties. I initially told her that I needed space from her because of the way that she has treated me as a friend, which she did not take well, and I had to block her number and delete her off social media to stop her from berating me with texts. Once I did that, it was insane how much better I felt. I truly didn't realize how much time and energy she took out of me every single day. I feel like a literal weight was lifted from my chest, and I wasn't filled with anxiety about whatever drama she would constantly call and text me about. I had no idea how much she had slowly taken from me across the course of our friendship, quote-unquote. It was like being free of an emotional vampire. However, despite feeling so much better, I still felt that I needed closure regarding the kids, who I do love and miss. I needed to know in my heart that I did everything I could for them to know none of this is their fault. I decided to drop off the presents that I already bought at their front doorstep and left a note letting her know that I was informed that she spoke poorly about me in front of her children during her wedding day, and that I simply cannot accept that disrespect anymore. It was very short and sweet, and I didn't go into much more detail than that. I also told her that I had no interest in reigniting any type of friendship, that this was my closure, and I do not want her to contact me further. Apparently, she immediately took to social media and began making dozens of posts and TikTok videos denying everything, as well as involving the kids in the videos. So sad. Trash-talking me and calling me a narcissist, which is laughable honestly, and it's her go-to insult for anyone who wrongs her. I had friends send me a few in disbelief, and while I appreciated being informed, I asked them to not send me anymore because I really don't care, and I don't want to give her the satisfaction of knowing that I saw any of them. Honestly, I just feel so bad for the kids, and I feel nothing but pity for their mother. How sad to be 33 years old, and instead of spending time on Christmas morning with your children, you're making TikTok videos to try to upset me, and failing at it at that. Anyway, that's my update. I'm glad to finally put all of this behind me. I really feel like I've closed the chapter of such a chaotic and drama-filled portion of my life. If any of you are dealing with a person like this in your lives, get out. Life is so much better without them in it to drag you down, I promise you. In the comments, Culture Imaginary 8750 says, "When I blocked my narcissist friend, it was amazing how free I felt. Like, I can go get coffee just by myself without having to invite her. I don't have her always coming to my house interrupting date night with my husband. I can hang out with other friends without her guilting me. I wish it had turned out differently, but people are going to make choices. You can't choose for them, and life is too short to spend it around people who drain you." And OP says, "Oh my god, this. I don't have to pretend to go to bed at 7 p.m. so she won't call me 20 times and interrupt my evening. I don't have her whining, "Why wasn't I invited?" to a friend's birthday party who she's never even met. I'm so glad that you got rid of the negative friend in your life too. No one should cause stress like that. And Guard Most says, "Good for you. Hard and expensive lesson to learn, but you did it. I just hope that her kids have a good support system. How is their dad with them?" And OP says, "Two separate dads. The oldest's dad is basically not involved. He's awful. The youngest dad is a pretty decent dad or stepdad, but he and my ex-friend have a super toxic dynamic that isn't healthy for the kids to be around. To be honest, I doubt this marriage will last. It's her third." Railroad Baron says, "I don't think OP handled this well at all, especially with the parents. She didn't do right by the kids and let them know that it isn't their fault. The ex-friend 100% just rewrapped those packages and said that they were from her and that Auntie OP doesn't love the kids. OP didn't handle this well when she agreed to be the maid of honor to someone who, quote, doesn't really have anyone close in her life that lasts longer than a few years, and she also changes jobs every few months because she is high conflict and causes drama constantly. Bruh." She also says in the comments that the bride and groom have broken up multiple times. Oh man, who could have possibly foreseen all of these issues? Plus, spending $6,000 on someone else's wedding? That is legitimately insane. It can take a long time to learn this lesson. I didn't learn it myself until I was 30 and agreed to be maid of honor to a woman whose original maid of honor suddenly dropped her like a hot potato. She also had almost no girlfriends in general because, as she says so herself, she hates other women. I hope OP has good friends around her that actually do appreciate what a caring person she is. If anything, I hope that OP just, learns her lesson from this and stays away and can recognize red flags in people like this in the future that she will not be a doormat to. I agree with Railroad Baron. I don't think OP handled this well at all. But that's okay. We all make wrong choices. We all make mistakes. We all have accidents. That is life. To err is human. I hope that OP just cops this on the chin and continues to put one foot forward in front of the other and never allows this woman back in her life and is a better person for it. Thank you for the story, OP. Very much appreciated. Good luck. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.